minutes. But it's down to 5 right now, but always listen to Mary Hyde. I'll tell you what, I never had these back in the day. But anyway, I'd like to start and congratulate all the other inductees, the women's cross-country team of 1993, and Beth Ann and Kim. Congratulations to you guys. And my teammate and running mate and golf partner, Heido. So it's so cool that we're both going at the same time. And just one other note too, you know, Heido said it's about time. I was debating on whether to start my speech by saying that, but I was going to add a verb in there, or an adjective. But I won't do that. But having waited this long, it means more to us. It really does, and I've talked to Duff about this, and you know, I think when you wait, it means so much more, and you can share it with your family. And my 2 children who are grown, they can appreciate this now more than maybe your kids. They may not remember it. So, you know, it was worth the wait. So thank you. And thanks to the selection committee, and George, and Michael Mooney, and past AD and former trainer, Marilyn Moore. Thank you. And, of course, Duff. You mean a lot to me still, and I really appreciate everything you've done for me and all of us. And I think it's evident when we come back for alumni games, we all look forward to coming back. And why do we look forward to coming back besides to see each other? Well, we want to make sure that Duff's around, because he's just like a king in his court when we're in town. I'd like to recognize my teammates that are here tonight. Steve Rossi, Jim White, Vinny Pizzo, Bob Stewie, Jimmy Edwards, Ricky Altier, and Heido. And I'd also like to recognize my Buffalo buddies. These are the guys, Ray Jarmus. Ray, I know. I'm coming. I'm getting there, Vinny. Don't worry. It's right here. But my Buffalo guys who I've played hockey with longer than certainly my 4 years at Geneseo. And I played with them before I went to Geneseo, and I still play hockey with them today. So, you know, thanks a lot for coming, guys. I appreciate it. And I'd be remiss if I didn't speak about one of my roommates, and who's currently the oldest living hockey alumni hockey player. Merritt, he's almost up to your age. He's 84 yesterday. I'm still here. Steve Flynn. By the way, I think he holds the record for most penalty minutes. Again, back in the day when that was part of our game. So anyway, where did I come from and how did I get here? Well, it was 34 years ago this fall that I set foot on the campus as a student. And it was 6 months prior to that I first came to Geneseo to watch a hockey game. My buddy at the time, and still today, but he's not here unfortunately, Terry Swazi, the 2 of us came to Geneseo and we saw the championship game of the Finger Lakes division. And we knew the following year that the program was going to go to Division II. So, you know, we were convinced that it was going to be a great opportunity for us. Unfortunately, that night, when we watched the game, Geneseo lost in the championship. So it wasn't a great atmosphere for going out and partying afterwards, because the team was kind of let down, and I just remember that. But the biggest thing I do remember about watching that game was the number of people and support that were at the game. I'd never seen so many people in an arena other than going to watch a Sabres game. So Swazi and I had these visions in our head about, boy, we can play here in front of all of this, so this is just going to be wonderful. And it was. So that had a big impact. So then we arrived and we moved into our dorm in Ontario in the end of August. Well, hockey didn't start until October 15th back then. I don't know when the ice gets put in now, Schultze, but the ice got put in at that time by Duff. Duff put the ice in. He, you know, cleaned the ice, painted the ice. He had us help him. I mean, he did it from top to bottom. So the anticipation of waiting for October 15th was just unbelievable. And Terry and I knew each other since we were 11. And I used to go over to his house to sleep all night because the next morning we'd have an early morning practice. So we'd go down the street, and the coach lived down the street, and he'd take us to practice. So here we are, you know, from age 11 to age 19, 8 years later, we're doing the same thing. We're rooming together, we're in the same dorm, and we can't wait to play hockey. We just couldn't wait. So October 15th couldn't come fast enough. And the very first day we had practice, it was just like, you know, we were so excited and so glad to be out there. That was the first time I actually met Heido. I probably met him in the corner. He was chopping me as I was trying to skate around him. But one of the most memorable things for me was, like Keith said, is that first game. You know, being in the locker room, starting the IRS Wilson tournament, that was our first game every year, and getting ready to go out on the ice. And the coolest thing back then was we didn't even wear helmets for the warm-up. So, you know, back in the late 70s, there was a lot of hair. So, you know, we had the flowing locks, and we get down to business and play the game. There were two things that I was really a stickler about in my career: my sticks and my skates. And the sticks that we had back then, for the current members, they were made from wood. And there was a stick company called Christian Brothers that sold Duff a bunch of logs that kind of, you know, looked like a hockey stick, but boy, they were awful. So I hated those things, and my mom and dad, who are with me over there, they would bring me 2 Gilbert Perreault Victoriaville hockey sticks from Buffalo for my games. So they would come about a half hour early, so I'd have time to tape them up and use them in the warm-up. But all week long, I used those Christian Brothers, because I wouldn't use my Victoriavilles for the practices. I'd only use them for games. So thanks for bringing those sticks. And I know those sticks had a lot to do with the number of goals that I scored. And I used to be able to get a dozen of them for $72. You can buy one stick today, and that's about $200. And they're not guaranteed. And the other thing I mentioned with my skates, and poor Heido, he bore the brunt of my demand for, I couldn't get my skates sharp enough. We'd go out for the warm-up, and I'd have them done before the warm-up. I'd come in over the warm-up, we're getting ready, and I'm looking at him and going, "Can you sharpen my right skate?" He'd be going, "Stitty, you're killing me." So I put him through a lot in 4 years, but he worked awful hard and got me the best edges I could ever have, so thank you.
I drove with him going in service.
And then there was, during our junior year, Duff got an invitation or a letter from the United States Olympic Committee, and looking for some players that were interested in trying out for the 1980 Olympic hockey team. That team actually did pretty well. So Duff came to Heido and I and said, "This is an opportunity if you guys want to go for it." So we said, "Sure." So we drove my 1976 Pinto across the thruway into Boston, or near Boston, to a place called Danvers, Mass. And unbeknownst to us at the time, there were 3 tryout sites. And one was in Danvers, one was in Minnesota, and another one was out in Colorado. So at each site, there was probably about 300 players. So we knew we were in trouble when we first got there. Before we even hit the ice, we're filling out the application, name, weight, position, you know, school you're with, pro team you've been drafted by. I'm like, okay, not yet. And then the next question after that was, and if so, Do we have permission to speak with your agent?
Oh my God.
But anyway, what a great experience and having an opportunity. And I tell my friends that every year I get older, I get closer to making that team. And then, of course, back to our games, and after our games here in Geneseo, and going to Pizza Land after the games with our parents and our friends, and in my case, my grandparents. My grandfather would hand me $20, and my grandmother would hand me $10. And so I'd have $30 in my pocket, and we were rich. And my buddy Miles, who's not here, our goalie, he would come up to me and say, "How much money do we make?" So he was right along next to me. And so then it was goodbye to Mom and Dad at the time, and my grandparents. And it was almost like we couldn't get rid of them fast enough, because what was waiting for us was down the alley to the in-between. And we couldn't wait to get there. But what a great experience. I'll share one quick story. You already know about my last game, but one of my first games, we were playing away at RIT. And RIT was kind of a chippy team, and we could always beat them, but this is before they were D1, certainly. And we're playing in this game, and I think we were losing by a goal. It was a pretty close, tight goal, or tight game. And after the second period, right in the second period, I had gotten clipped by a stick. We didn't wear face masks back then, guys. And we also didn't have Facebook. But so I came in the locker room, and it was nothing to get cut, and I had a little, blood dripping down my nose. And Duff came in the room, and he was a little bit hot because of what was going on in the game. And then one of my teammates, Rick Wetmore, comes in and he goes, "Stitty, you okay?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm fine." And then I hear from around the locker, "The heck with him!" And it was Duff. And I was just like, "The heck with you!" So we exchanged some unpleasantries, and at that moment, my mind is thinking, "Okay, I'm done. I'm not going to play here. Where am I going to transfer? Where am I going to go? There's no way I'm going to see the ice again." So we go out for the third period. So after that exchange in the locker room, and I look out, and my two wingers are at center ice to start the period. So I immediately just went down, sat on the bench, figuring, no way. So I'm waiting and waiting and waiting. Nobody goes out to take my place. So I'm sitting on the bench like this, and I look down, and Duff like this, and he goes, "Remember that?" So I knew it was all bygones were bygones, but we always wanted to win, and that was the bottom line. And then for what he did for me, trying to reach my 20th goal in that last game, meant so much. And you know what? I didn't score it, but getting this today is like getting that 20th goal. So thank you very much. So, as one of my roommates would have said back in the day, "Oh, geez, there'll be no living with them now." Well, there's no living with me now, big time. And then, in closing, I just want to thank everybody. This means an awful lot to me, and what a wonderful honor to share with my family and my beautiful wife and my two kids and my mom and dad and my in-laws. It couldn't be any better. And Deirdre and I have a saying that when we got together, and that it's, are we allowed to have this much fun?
Yeah, we are.
Yeah.
So thank you very much.